And then may I ask about tithing? I'm in a group of people and we're attempting to do good things, and we're expecting a certain abundance and we're attempting to do my definition of good things. And I don't think I've ever heard you address tithing.
Well, it falls into the same category with everything else. The act of tithing is neither good or bad, helpful or hindering. It's how you feel as you are upon the action that matters. And the thing that there are many who would say that tithing really helps you, that when you tithe, that good things come back to you tenfold, or your abundance comes back many times more than what you tithe. And the reason, if that happens to someone, the reason that happens is because in their feeling of prosperity, in other words, imagine that feeling, I have everything I need and then some. In fact, abundance comes to me so easily that I don't feel guarded about it. I'm not trying to save every bit of it. I let it flow in and out. And my feeling of well-being in terms of finances is so clear to me that I joyously offer this extra that is always there for me for someone else's benefit. So feel the attitude of abundance that is there. There are people who tithe because they feel guilty if they don't. Mm-hmm. Well, that's an upstream experience, and their financial abundance does not get better. There are those who tithe out of responsibility. Well, that's an upstream thought, and their financial abundance doesn't get any better. So your tithing must come from your feeling place of abundance before more abundance comes. And so it's another one of those subjects where people have viewed the act of it from outside the feeling of it, and then they're trying to call it always a good thing. And we say, it's like everything else. It's not always beneficial to you. It depends on how you feel. If you can't pay your bills and you're feeling terrible about not being able to pay your bills, and you give 10% or whatever of the money that you do have to somebody else and you don't pay your bills, and then you feel worse for having done that, you're in a worse place, and that act did not serve you at all. But if you are feeling appreciation of the dollars that you have and knowing that abundance is there, and you feel so good about that, knowing that that abundance is there, that you want to contribute something somewhere, then do it. We always encourage that you tithe your Porsche account, that you tithe your clothing account, that you tithe your vacation account. In other words, you can, wherever you feel the abundance. And another thing, when you look at someone who is in drastic need and you say, I give this money because I see that you need, it's an upstream thought. And giving money under those conditions doesn't help you, and it doesn't help them. You have whole parts of your environments that have this attitude of entitlement, where for generations they have been accustomed to someone else giving them their money. And we do not see an attitude of appreciation which is perpetuating it, and therefore they're not joyful in the receiving. And there is not joy in those who are doing the giving, and there's not joy in those who are doing the receiving. It's all out of balance, you see. Not all of it, but that which is orchestrated by your government is certainly out of balance. So, as we've said over and over and over today, line up your energy first and then do whatever you feel inspired to do.
And so you get the sense my group is doing okay on the whole?
Well, it doesn't matter what we think, it's what you think.
So if I feel they're doing okay, they're doing okay.
And you don't get to decide for the whole group either.
Right, just for me, my part of it. And and how that influence, we all seem to have different avenues of where we want to see the good produce. Or
well, you know what we can feel around it is that you're sort of feeling competitive about where you spend the money. There's this feeling that, oh, this needs it more and this needs it more, and that's upstream. And so what you might try to foster is that this is abundance that's been called through you, and it has a life of its own, and it knows where it wants to go. And when you light upon the idea of where it's best to go, you'll feel thrilled about it, you see. And when you feel that feeling about it, you know. In other words, your guidance lets you know those things. We've talked a lot today and yesterday and the day before and every day that you listen about laws and streams and resistance and allowing. And when you try to take it all in at once, it can feel like too much to contemplate and too much to try to apply. And we want to make it feel simpler to you by helping you to realize that you are a continuum of consciousness that is always in the right place at the right time. And by the right place at the right time, we mean the best that you can be at from the vibration that you hold and law of attraction's response to you. So if you make peace with where you are and don't try so hard to micromanage everything and trust, what begins to happen is you find yourself with more ideas that pan out for you in a more productive way. The evidence of your life will show you the alignment of your energies, just as the alignment of your energies produces the unfolding of your life. When we talk endlessly about processes and about goals and about flow and about deliberately turning in the stream, some of you, we feel it here especially today, you find yourselves, rather than being more inspired to the deliciousness of life, you find yourself more determined to get it right, which is the opposite of what our message is to you. Our message is you can't get it wrong, so you don't need to be determined to get it right. You can't get on the wrong path, so you don't need to be so careful at the crossroads. There isn't something that you were supposed to do, so you don't need to find exactly what it is and do it. You're the creator of it for the purpose of the joy that it gives you in the process. Not the joy that you're going to get when you get it done. The joy that you have in the process of it. So if it isn't fun now, something's screwy. And it doesn't mean your plan is wrong, and it doesn't mean your goal is wrong. It means your vibration is wrong, which means your right now thought is contrary to who you have become. We've been offering the analogy of the guidance system in your vehicle that knows where you are and knows where you've programmed that you want to be, and it just calculates a route between the two. And that simplistic analogy is the best analogy that we've ever seen to help you understand the guidance system that operates between you and you, because you are where you are, but you've been programming where you want to go, and that larger part of you has become it. So there are these 2 points of vibrational relativity that are playing off of one another constantly. And if you could just let your life be about those 2 points of vibrational relativity, everything would be so much simpler. If you could just accept that I don't have to prove who I am, life has already caused me to become who I am, and now I'm just letting myself be who I have become. And so that's why we want to make it all an emotional journey. We don't want it to be a thought journey, because it can't help but be a thought journey because your thoughts have preceded you. But if you will now let it be an emotional journey, which means I'm gravitating to what feels best from where I am, instead of a thought journey, which is, let's see, let me decipher everything. Let me dissect the world. Let me read all the books. Let me talk to all of the people. Let me examine where all of the people are. Let me weigh out the pros and cons of all of the possibilities. Let me decide which are the best schools to go to, and let me decide which is the best information to glean from the schools, and let me decide which is the best education for me to get, and let me decide which is the best place for me to work, and let me decide which is the best department within which to work, and let me decide which is the best person within the department with which to work, and let me decide which is the best words to offer to those people to get them to do what I need them to do, so that I can be in the right place at the right time, so that I can further my career in just the appropriate ways. Let me find all of the right things that I can do and all of the things that I can do, and let me read all the right books, and let me watch all the right television programs, so that I can have all the information that I need to have, so that I can make all the right decisions. And we say, oh, kill me now. it's just so very, very, very tiring to try to contemplate all of that. And you don't need to, because your life has caused you to become something that is big and loud and calling you. And when you go, you have fun, and when you don't, you don't. When you go, you feel good, and when you don't, you don't. When you go, you thrive, and when you don't, you don't. It really is that simple. So we want you to understand that you've done step 1 and 2. It's all done. It's all done. There isn't anything else for you to figure out. Now your work is to feel the vibe of it. Where do I want to go? Who do I want to talk to? What television programs do I want to watch? What books do I want to read? What sites do I want to cite? Where do I want to take my walks? What thought paths do I want to find? In other words, what feels the best? What feels the best? What feels the best? What's downstream? What's downstream? What's downstream? What's downstream? And so many of you, even after all of these hours that we spend together on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or days, it doesn't matter how much time we spend together, what happens with so many of you is you come to the place where you feel all of this, and then you get bogged right back down in the thinking process. And we want you, that's why for a while we called this the science of deliberate creation, but frankly it made you think too much. Oh, it's science. I must think about it. Creation, ooh, creation. Deliberate, oh, I must be very deliberate. I must think about that which I'm becoming. And we want to say to you, life just makes you do that. You can't not do that. Everybody does that. Even one-celled organisms do that. In other words, you can't cease but do that. So then, as we saw you worrying so much about what you were thinking, we decided to give it a whole new name. Let's call it the art of allowing. Let's put it into the framework of that which you all are about. Let's figure out ways that you can now allow yourself to be what life has caused you to become. And that's when we really got specific about helping you to understand that the guidance within you, so you feel the guidance within you is alive and active and more available to you the more you use it. So as you care about how you feel, and you gravitate to the thoughts that feel increasingly good, and you get better and better and better results, that's a wonderful thing. But we don't want you to be result-oriented. We want you to be how I feel in the moment-oriented, because you're never going to come to the end of the results that you're seeking. And when you are looking for results, invariably you become impatient about how fast you're getting there, and then you turn upstream. So if you don't be result-oriented, but you still instead be how I feel in the moment-oriented, now you're always on your path. So people looking at you from the outside begin to notice that, first of all, you feel better. They can feel that the tension has dissipated within you. And then they begin to notice that they heard you talking about something, and next time they turn around, you're driving it, or living in it, or owning it, or feeling it, or living with it. In other words, they begin to notice that your words are translating into the physical equivalent more rapidly than seems fair to them from their vantage point. And then you begin to notice that the having of things becomes less significant, although you can have anything that you want, because the having of things used to fill a void that no longer needs to be filled, because you filled the void up with alignment with who you are. The void was never about needing one more thing to bring home. The void was never about need in a relationship. The void was about the misalignment between you and you. And now you've figured out how to deal with that alignment. And you've understood that that alignment's not like a college degree that once you get it, it's yours forevermore. Your alignment either is or isn't in the moment, and it's always available to you. It's just a thought or two away. Now you begin to understand that life is about living. It's not about buying. Life is about being. It's not about achieving. Life is about the pathway. It's not about the ending place. Life is about the journey. It's not about the destination. Life is about the going. It's not about the getting there. Life is about the living of life, not about the getting to some place that you always wanted to be in life. Life is what you are about, is the eternally unfolding genius that you are, and you never stop unfolding. So you can't get it done. And if getting it done matters, then you're in deep doo-doo, because you can't get it done. So when you relax in that attitude, when instead of, as you come together in a group, trying to figure out how to get this big clump of money so that you can do something with it. You're enjoying being together as a group. Instead of trying to figure out what's the best place to put the money, you just understand that there are endless places to put it, and one place is as good as another, and it doesn't really matter which place it is, because that wasn't the point anyway. The point wasn't to find the most needy place and put your money there. The point was to have a reason for money to flow through you towards something that made you feel good while it was flowing through you. You can't find enough charities to fix. And if you get on that bandwagon, you'll go crazy, because the charities will come out of the woodwork and they'll say, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. And before you know it, you will feel shortage, because not enough money can flow through the vortex called you and your group to satisfy all of those that will be saying, give it to me, give it to me. And then you'll want to say, wait, I don't give it to you because you need it. I give it to you because it felt good to give it to you, but now it doesn't feel so good to give it to you. Jerry and Esther met a wonderful girl in a restaurant in California a while back, and they could tell she was from another country. She had a delightful accent, and as they visited with her, she was from a part of Russia, and they liked her so much. They liked her sweetness. They liked her trying. They liked how much she wanted to do a good job at what she was doing. And so Esther had a purse full of money that she had been carrying around from one of the workshops, and as she was writing the amount for the tip, she said to Jerry, what do you think about just giving her this envelope? And Jerry said, I think it's a good idea. He didn't even ask how much was in it. It didn't matter to either one of them. There was a lot of money in it, thousands of dollars in it. And so the little girl brought the check, and Esther put some money on as a tip because she didn't want her employer to think that the girl had not given them good service. And then Esther just said, we'd like you to have this too. And she said, thank you very much. And she went back into the kitchen, and then they heard dishes breaking. And she comes back to the table, and she is beside herself with appreciation. And then she begins to tell them how much she needed this money. And Esther said, well, in that case, give it back. Teasing. And Esther said, we didn't give this money to you because you need money. We gave this money to you because you just inspired it from us. Your freshness, your aliveness, your happy with lifeness, your looking for where you're going. You just evoked it from us. We don't give it to you because you need it. And later they got an email, and it said, I told my friend this morning that something wonderful was going to happen to me. I didn't know where or when or how or what. I just told my friend I could feel that something wonderful was going to happen to me. And so there that was in her vibration. And there Jerry and Esther are driving around with a purse full of money, trying to decide where they're going to have lunch. Now, they had not decided that they were going to go there for lunch. In fact, they were on their way someplace else for lunch, someplace that they always go, that they love to go, on the water. And as they came around the corner off the freeway entrance, Jerry said, oh, look, there's that place I've been wondering about. What do you think about going there for lunch? And it was such an odd time of the day. There was not even a car in the parking lot. And Esther said, it may not even be open. Esther was sort of wanting to continue the path that they were upon. And Jerry said, I really want to see this place. Let's park and at least check it out. And so Esther said, well, I'll just drive up and you go in and see if there's anybody in there. And if there is, wave me in and I'll come. So Jerry went in, the door was open, and he waved Esther in, and she parked. And in they are. Can you feel how this girl and her alignment it was alignment, her place of expecting something good to happen to her. So the universe knows everything. The universe knows there she is expecting something wonderful to happen, and there is somebody who has the ability to make something wonderful happen, and everybody just gets the right cue at the right time in order to end up in the right place. In other words, don't you think that's a lovely path that you're living on? Don't you think it's a wonderful thing? And don't you understand that it isn't about the result? In other words, it isn't about making something happen. It's just getting in on the joy of the journey. There isn't anything more thrilling to Jerry and Esther than to play a game like that. But that's not a game they play every day. It's not a game they feel an inspiration to play every day. The universe cues you up, and when you are in alignment with who you are, then you get the benefit of those powerful rendezvous, which are the gift of the best of life. In other words, that's the way life is supposed to feel for you. You are creative beings all doing this dance together, all looking for ways to enhance one another's experience. And when you come into alignment with who you are, the universe, the soul of you, the God of you, the source of you, that knows not only who you are and how you feel, but who everyone else is at the party and how they feel, will cause an impulse within you that if you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, is easy for you to follow, and off you go. But some of you say, but I'm not always tuned in, tapped in, turned on. I don't always know. I'm not always queued up. How do I know what I'm feeling? And we say, that's what your work is. Your work is to figure out what you're feeling, and from where you are, wherever it is, find the best feeling that you can. And when that is your mantra, and it's the only one you need, today I'm going to look for things to feel good about, and I'm going to do my best to feel as good as I can feel whenever I'm consciously aware that I'm feeling it all. In other words, I'm just going to feel as good as I can feel from where I am. As that is your eternal quest, what happens is you just feel a little better and feel a little better and feel a little better. You feel a little better about this. You feel a little better about this. You feel a little better about money. You feel a little better about your body. You feel a little better about your mate. You feel a little better about your president. You feel a little better about the weather. You feel a little better about your body. You feel a little better about money. You feel a little better about your president. You feel a little better. You feel a little better about this. You feel a little better about that. And before you know it, you feel a little better. 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 And you are no longer now needing to control things, because you can't control them anyway, and you feel better anyway. And the better you feel, the more aware of how you feel you are, and the more aware of how you feel you are, the better you are able to make choices, until before you know it, you're just flowing along, and life is going so good for you, and people are looking at you, and they're wanting to say, because they don't get it maybe, why is your life so good? And you say, well, there's this stream. And I've got this boat. And I used to have these oars. I threw the oars away a long time ago. But I used to get in the stream, and I used to turn it upstream, and I used to paddle really hard, and I used to get really tired and really ornery. Like you could say. And then I realized it wasn't working out for me, and so one day I just let go of the oars, and to my surprise and delight, my boat turned around in the stream. And as I relaxed there, thinking at first, I need more oars and more oarsmen to help me, I began noticing that the ride on this river was pleasant, and that when I relaxed and allowed myself to enjoy that everything that I'd ever wanted was within easy reach, and my boat in the water took me to it. Odd, you say, that I gave up the struggle that I'd been trained to perfect. And in the moment that I did that, things started getting better. And I didn't ride very long on the river before I came to understand that I never had anything to prove anyway. And my attempt at proving it was what was messing up my life. There was never anything that I was supposed to do anyway. And when I stopped doing it, things got better right away. Turned out I was worthy without the struggle. But I couldn't get the reward until I stopped the struggle. Turned out that I was a good person anyway, and that there wasn't anything that I needed to do to prove that to anyone, because everything that matters to me, everything that is good, already knows my goodness. But it was me not knowing it that was my problem, not God not knowing it. It wasn't that I didn't find a way to prove my goodness to God. God already knew that. It was my letting myself know my goodness that was missing. So now I'm enjoying the ride on the river, you say. And it's a really frolicking good ride, and it takes me to all of the wonderful places of life. And now I've got the hang of it. I realize how many wonderful other people are riding the river, and it is uncanny how the stream causes us to rendezvous and have really good times together. It's nice. What's the time?
We have 12 minutes.
What is left undone? You're done.
Thank you so much.
All right, what we're looking for here, because you know we've answered your question. Yes? Yes?
Yes.
So what we're looking for here is something that, something within you that you feel on the brink of, that you feel that a brief conversation will put you right over the edge of it. In other words, something's ready to pop. It hasn't popped yet. But you feel that just a little bit of conversation will take you right over the top. All right, greedy one, come forward. Now, if anyone feels injustice in this, you missed the whole day.